Have you ever wondered why in every corner of the world, every country, every continent, the US dollar reigns supreme? Whether you're in Africa or Asia, if you've got dollars in your pocket, doors open up. But why is that? What makes the US dollar so powerful? Who really controls it? Could America ever lose its grip on this power? And if that happens, what would it mean for the US and the rest of us? Today, we're diving into a story you won't find in textbooks or mainstream news. This is the story of the dollar's rise, its hidden strength, and what the future might hold. So let's get started. Our story begins right after World War II. The year was 1944. The world was in ruins. Countries needed to rebuild. So leaders from the world's most powerful nations gathered in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, USA. There, they signed an agreement called the Bretton Woods Agreement. According to this deal, most of the world's currencies would now be tied to the US dollar, and the dollar itself would be tied to gold. In simple terms, $1 equals 35 grams of gold. That meant, if you had dollars, you could convert them to real gold. Solid and secure. But here's where things got clever. At that time, America held the largest gold reserves, nearly 70% of the world's gold. So even if other countries wanted to challenge the system, they couldn't. America said, "Our dollar is as good as gold." And the world agreed. Gradually, the US dollar became the global reserve currency. Countries began stockpiling dollars so they could trade internationally. Then the US made its next move. It started printing more dollars. At first, it printed only as many dollars as it had gold. But soon, the US began printing more, without the gold to back it up. Then came 1971. President Richard Nixon went on national TV and declared, "From now on, the dollar will no longer be backed by gold." You couldn't exchange your dollars for gold anymore. The world was shocked, but the move worked. The dollar had already become a trusted brand. People believed in its value even without the gold, but the real power move came with oil. In the 1970s, the US made a secret deal with Saudi Arabia. America said, "We'll protect you, give you weapons, but in return, you must sell oil only in US dollars." Saudi Arabia agreed. Soon, all OPEC nations followed. Now, if any country wanted oil, they first needed to buy dollars. This system became known as the petrodollar system. Think about it. Japan, India, Germany, all had to buy dollars first, just to buy oil. That meant a constant global demand for dollars. And for the US, this was like printing money from thin air. America could just keep printing dollars, and the world would keep using them. Now, let's fast forward to today. The world is changing. China, Russia, Brazil, and India, they're building a new system called de-dollarization. They formed a group, BRICS. Their goal? To trade in their own currencies, not dollars. Russia and China now trade in yuan. India and the UAE struck deals in rupees and dirhams. Even Saudi Arabia is considering selling oil without dollars. So is the dollar's reign ending? Not quite, but the cracks are showing. So what is the US doing about this? America isn't just sitting back. It's using its diplomatic and military influence aggressively. Anytime a country tries to abandon the dollar, strange things seem to happen. Iraq wanted to sell oil in euros. Saddam Hussein was soon overthrown. Libya proposed a gold-backed African currency. Muammar Gaddafi's government collapsed. Many experts say this is no coincidence. America will do whatever it takes to protect the power of its currency. But will that strategy always work? The world is going digital. Cryptocurrencies, digital currencies, and CBDCs are rising. China is promoting its digital yuan. And what if one day countries simply say, "We don't need dollars anymore"? The foundation of US power could shake. Because America's real power isn't just its military, it's the dollar. And that dollar is based on trust. So what happens if the dollar weakens? Everything becomes more expensive for Americans. Importing goods gets harder. America's debt skyrockets, as fewer countries are willing to lend. And perhaps the biggest impact, America's global political power fades. Today, the US can act with confidence because every country needs dollars. If that changes, so does America's influence. So, Are we witnessing the fall of the dollar? It's hard to say, because right now, 60% of global reserves are still in dollars. Most trade still happens in dollars, but the shift has begun, slowly, quietly. This is the story of a king, whose throne is still firm, but challengers are rising. The next 10 to 20 years will determine the outcome of this battle. And if you want to see who wins, don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you in the next chapter.